Välkommen hit, mitt namn är Yassim Ahmadi. Jag är en multipassionerad person som är obeveklig i att vara i linje med mitt livs syfte genom personlig och andlig utveckling. Jag är helt enkelt besatt av det. Är du likadan så är det här helt rätt plats för dig. Innan du stiger in så vill jag be dig om en liten tjänst. Gå in i oss 5 stjärnor så att andra tokskallar som du och jag kan hitta hit och levla upp sin livskvalitet. All right, stick på. Välkomna till Sunday Brunch Cast. Idag sitter jag med vår första gäst som gästade oss här på Sunday Brunch Cast för nästan ett år sedan. Och tanken var då att vi skulle förstå vad han menade med det som kommer döpas till Black Belt Mentality. Det här är en fantastiskt nära vän till mig och vår relation bygger mest av röstmemos som vi skickar till varandra. Med olika tankar, slumpmässiga tankar som vi får under dagen. Så tänkte jag att vi har alldeles för mycket att prata om. Så vi behöver nog sätta oss ner igen och ta en sak i taget. Så återigen, välkommen Saleh.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
My introduction was in Swedish, but I'm going to continue speaking English because it seems like this is the language we usually dive into and speak about those subjects. All right. So almost a year ago, you were here. We were talking about this black belt mentality and what it means for you and how you approach life. I found it very interesting. I've observed myself the past year and I've actually adopted some pieces of that. And I think it goes along with your personal development. What I found is that you have actually labeled those things and given the concepts like an etiquette, a name, and how they work. So, for those who don't know you, can you just give us a background?
A background.
Okay.
So hi, it's Mbamba. I've been writing in various ways for the past 2 decades. Everything from poetry to music to directing a few things. Today I think I'm here to be able to have a little bit more of a personal touch to the conversations and theories and thoughts that we have. And I'm very excited. It's been a year, as you said. And I'm really, I saw the questions and I thought to myself, okay, hold on, let me not read too much. Let's leave some spontaneity into all of this. So thank you very much, obviously, for having me here. Thank you for pushing me even to try to get this work in completion.
Latest book, please stop at the red light. Go get it. It's an Amazon, so it's just to order it. It's also an ebook, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. All right, bro. Let's cut the crap. Let's go to the core of this conversation. So, why we're here today is because, as I said, me and you usually talk about maybe some deeper stuff. And one of these things I mentioned to you was like, yo, have you pondered about this ego thing? And for me, my experience was that like 3 years ago, I had a spiritual awakening. Sounds a little bit goofy, but what happens is that you start to dismantle what they call the ego, and you start realizing that, hey, I'm not actually my thoughts, my feelings, or my experiences. Then where am I? And that came with a personal crisis in my life that drove me to look inward. And when I was discussing this thing with you, the ego, you said, I want to remember that you said, I can't really relate. And you being a philosopher. And I was a bit taken back, like, hold up, how can't he relate to the ego when he's a deep diver? Tell me more.
I mean, first of all, disclaimer, I have to obviously state that whoever is around me will maybe claim it to be very differently. They might see and understand this as being, no, he's very prevalent in his ego. It is very, present. But in our discussion, in my own self-reflection, the way it was described and the way that your general consensus speaks about the ego, I can't relate to that. I can't relate to negative voices. I can't relate to having this chip on my shoulder constantly telling me to do bad or negative things. I can't relate to that. In my case, I keep saying it, alhamdulillah, I grew up with a lot of people around me. There was a lot of, yeah, keep going, keep pushing. The concept of suppressing certain thoughts, you also have certain people around you, like mentors, who can teach you how to suppress what you probably don't need. And I think, in my case, okay, I'll give you an example where the ego did actually appear. And what I did with it. So 2 days ago, I was in Malmö, and I'm working on this new piece of poetry, and as my thought experiment is, I go around and I give fathers a letter.
Okay, cool.
And it says in the beginning of the letter, it says, from a father to a father. I believe in the climate that we are living in, a lot of fathers who are not deadbeat as dads.
Shout out to the pops.
Yeah, they just don't get love. They don't get appreciation. They don't get acknowledgement for the work that they put in. The, work behind the scenes. And, I was giving out the letters, and they always say that the ratio, I forgot the name with the P, the 80-20 rule.
Okay, yeah, the Pareto.
There you go.
Yep.
And 80% was going great, fabulous. Gal, thank you very much. Okay, my pitch was simple. Hi, excuse me, do you speak English? Yes, I do. All right. When you have a moment for yourself, read this letter. Okay, thank you very much.
Weird, but
very weird. And a lot of people, like I said, 80% of the people were just like, okay, cool, give me that, appreciated. The 20%, are a little bit different. So the few percentages of individuals that I met the other day were, I don't know if they thought it was some religious sect or whatever.
Yeah. Jehovahs Witness. Could be anyone.
But what they did was, no, thank you. I'm good. Thank you very much. And I stood there and I said, but it's poetry.
Chill.
And they kept walking. And that's where I could recognize his voice for a slight second.
Yeah.
And he went, is this really happening? He's just denying all this good stuff that you're trying to do of good.
Ooh.
And then I said to myself, or that voice, it's the ego in this sense, I said, yeah, but that's the tools, right? This is where the tools come in. This is one out of how many guys around? Because obviously I'm targeting fathers who are with a baby, right? If they're with their respective other or not, didn't matter for me. But as long as they're with a stroller and they have a kid, I'm like, okay, it's you I'm trying to speak to.
Oh.
And then it hit me, the bigger picture, because one of the tools that I've got is how to look at things objectively and a bit more from a holistic view. And I said, would I really want him in my surrounding anyway? If you are the type of person who can't accept a random poem from a random person, I don't think I want you around me. So this is how I justified that voice, and then it disappeared. I'm gone. Didn't think of it again. I immediately looked at some other place, saw someone else, and I even at one point said, because I saw another family who saw this whole thing happen, and I looked at them and I went to them and I said, you know what, excuse me, I thought this poem was for them, but I think it's for you.
Beautiful.
And he went, thank you very much. And he took it. And I got on with my day. So I think it has more to do with that I don't often see it or hear it. But now that you mentioned it and we started to speak more about it,
So they're actually more attentive to it just comes out. Yeah, it's the input. Yeah, exactly.
And I think that goes for the positive as well as the negative things.
Yep. Tell me more about the positive.
The positive things is, how do you catch yourself in flow? How do you catch yourself when you don't have to use the tools? How do you catch yourself where I'm just giving out letter after letter after letter and it's all, yeah. Because I never actually get to see the moment where they
Reaction, no.
I don't get to see that. But I assume how it would be. And it's in a positive intention. So whoever that individual is, hopefully out of those 80, I think there's a high probability of those individuals would enjoy it. An unexpected gift at an unexpected time. Those are the ones you appreciate the most. It's all about formulas.
We're going to talk about the formulas. But
Go deep dive into the formulas. Okay, so the biggest trap I was in for like 3-4 years ago is that I thought that my thoughts were me.
Okay.
And that voice that told you, wait, hold up, I'm giving all this love. And this mother, that voice, I thought that was me also.
Okay. How did you deal with it?
It became an instant reaction inside. Like with no space.
Was it urgent to answer that voice immediately?
Yeah, it was. Why? Because I couldn't see the space between them.
Gotcha.
There was no space between them, to be honest.
Gotcha.
So the meditation thing and whatever, the spiritual awakening made me realize that, hold up, there's actually space there. It's very thin. But you can actually expand it by disciplining and training and being more conscious. That's the first step for me. That's why it's interesting when you said that, yeah, I noticed that voice came in that position. And usually what happens is people just follow it without questioning it. I do it also just to be. But when you're noticing that, hold up, this is the first batch. This is the first batch. Physiological, psychological reaction. Let's hold up with that one. Let's see what the other batch gives us. Oh, this batch was a little bit better, more mature response. And the third batch is more loving, mature, and also understanding, of course. But something, they still penetrate that filters.
What do you mean?
Some issues, some questions still penetrates all the way into the core.
Yes.
And makes you a little bit uncomfortable.
Gotcha.
And you feel like, what the fuck is happening?
But because
I thought I was this spiritual
But because you're
guy who
uncomfortable
can
doesn't mean that you have to react.
No. But you react internally. You didn't catch that drone. It's like drones. They send into your land. You catch them with your anti-missile defense.
But my question, because once you realize, it's like, look, this room in here, alhamdulillah, mashallah, it's a nice place.
It's a warm place.
This is my point. We realize when the temperature goes up slightly.
Yeah.
Slightly. When you're stretching, mashallah, you're in a good physique.
Thank you.
If you're standing in the wrong position, just slightly, you notice.
Yeah.
When you know how to listen.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
why don't we use the same formula to adapt our behaviors or way of being when that type of thing happens? You notice if somebody puts you off balance a little bit.
Yeah.
You realize it.
Yeah, it feels
Unbalanced.
Yeah.
It could be negative, it could be, but it's unbalanced. My question always becomes, why is the go-to that? Whatever the formula now becomes, where it hasn't served you at all or throughout the years, or how it layers itself throughout time. Why is that our go-to? Why are we not working with what's our emergency drill now? This is not a drill. What do we do now? Why don't we work on those? That becomes my question, because like I said, I'm blessed to have had the people around me to have guided me through those breaking points, those specific parts. Hey, pay attention.
exactly.
Pay attention.
It's focus and concentration with intention, but it's also a very intimate work. It's very intimate dialogue. It's like, hey, look at this trick. And you're like, whoa, it's a trick. It's not reality. It's just a trick. So when you work on that voice becoming stronger that tells you it's a trick, don't fall for it, then you actually become more liberated. But sometimes you fall back into being tricked, and then you go into being conscious again. It's an everyday work thing.
It is. I think one of the biggest assets that I have is I put myself in positions and situations before it happens. So I'm sure we'll speak about this later, but in regards to stopping myself from doing what is natural, like I'll have a day where I just don't talk for 3 days. I'll have a period in a year where I just don't talk for 3 days, or so I don't use certain limbs, or I only allow myself to.
Is that fear-based, or is that just you?
It's a good question. I don't know what it is based in. My earliest memory of it is remembering I broke my, I didn't break. I was born with a Bankat operation in my shoulder. So I got this hideous scar here, which I love, which is a part of me. But it basically means that my shoulder can jump out.
Oh, wow.
And I basically dislocated. So I just put it back. So I had that throughout my whole life. And because I practiced a lot of martial arts, it became a hindrance at some point. And I said, okay, let's get this operated. And I realized at one point that the doctors had told me that you're just going to have this casket on for, 2 months or 3 months or whatever it was. And I remember going back. This is my earliest memory of it. I don't know if it's based in this, that I do the other thing, but this is my earliest memory. And not being able to use my shoulder. Because, you can't sleep right. You have to, I don't know if you've ever broken anything. Hopefully never. But you have to be in a certain position so that it heals itself. And I remember the disappointment in myself. When the doctor had given me a time frame. And he wasn't clear enough, apparently, that has just got to do until we see how it has evolved.
Okay.
I'm going, in my mind, throughout time, I'm taking this off, right? And I remember the disappointment in not being able to do that. I see that the race ends there. I thought I had this much energy. Now apparently there's another half kilometer left, and I don't have it. Because I paced it out to reach this. So I learned very early on that working without expectation is healthy. Don't look at the result. Do the work. So I told myself, for example, all throughout my university time, I didn't know how long it was. And people look at me like, you're stupid. Like, how do you not know how many points you're supposed to read? And I said, just because it is X amount of numbers or semesters that we're supposed to have read doesn't mean that I'll graduate them. So what do? Is a very common phenomenon that you're supposed to write your thesis, and a lot of people don't. And they end up at jobs later on where, but I only have to finish my thesis.
Exactly.
But they don't.
They don't.
And I remember being around a lot of these type of people, and I said to myself, I don't want to be in that. I don't want to be in that predicament. That when I need the energy the most looks painful. I don't have the psychology for that. I don't have it. So I said to myself, it is as long as it is. This is just not what I'm doing. I'm at the university. I'm just studying. And at the end of it, that kind of stuff happened. I had to redo a couple of months or whatever. Went fine. A lot of peers that I had in my class didn't go as fine.
Because they
don't have any energy. They didn't finish their thesis. And then now when they needed the most, they've started working somewhere else. And because they started working somewhere else, they got used to that loop. And they never quite finished it, but they needed to get... So what did I do? I got my degree. The first thing I did after I got my degree is I took the corner of my degree and I ripped it.
That's weird ass shit.
That's not. It puts you in Zen. The shack, I ripped it. My friends are like, what are you doing? Again, what is this all about? And I said, to remind yourself that it's just paper. Whoever the gatekeeper is that needs this can still read the text. But for me, I'll know that there's a defect on it. Stop acting like this paper here is going to save my life now. How many people do we have around us who have been studying and have all kinds of degrees, and at the end of the day, they're not even working with what it is that they're professioned in?
Exactly. So, but during those years at the university, were you worried that you're not going to make it? Or you're going to have to redo something?
I think I always lived with that it's a possibility that it could happen, and probably a fear of I won't, or the disappointment, not the fear, the disappointment that I wouldn't have enough energy if I needed it later. I don't have the reserves if I need it.
Okay. So, you consider yourself special?
Yeah, I do.
In what way?
Several ways. I'm born a twin. Everything about me is slightly odd. What is it that actually makes me special? Had a few notes there. What makes me special? I think I went the other way around. You were mentioning that your work was done because of necessity, your conscious work, and how you had to change and become and evolve into this phoenix that something different.
Yep.
I don't. I think I'm special because I learn out of other people's mistakes. I think I'm special because it's a superpower that I can see someone else go through a situation and put myself in that resemblance of that situation and go, I don't want that outcome. If I don't want that outcome, I need to do these wild stuff. And I do. So in my case, being special is how you perceive bad news, how you perceive good news. What formulas do you use in times of need, in times of joy? And I think I have a pretty good, sensible way of dealing with those things. That's what I believe makes me very special.
But what is it that makes you actually attentive and want to hear? Because we've been teenagers and the elders have said, don't do this, it's bad. Don't do that, it's bad. But you don't actually listen.
I did.
Yeah, but...
But this is what I'm trying to tell you.
The teenager actually doesn't listen.
No.
So what do you think that made you actually attentive and
I
listen?
respected the people that said it. I really respected the individuals that said it, because I also knew that these people that I had around me didn't speak for the sake of speaking. There wasn't much emptiness in their words when they spoke. And when I'm speaking like this, I'm talking about uncles, aunties, parents, grandparents. They joked, but there was always a moral twist into their story. There was always a fable that was spoken of in regards to why it was mentioned. There was always some, people give me the critique today that, you get a bit too deep too fast, but this was my standard. This is what I grew up on. So for me, when they spoke, I listened. And I knew at some point, that's what they meant. Because what were their characters like? They would often give credit to whoever said something. So this chain of narration culturally just, is within us. And they would speak in such a way where they would honor people that gave them lessons. So not only am I getting information from them, but also their experiences. And whoever's telling me this, I'm getting now their perspective as objectively as possible in such a situation on what they saw when they observed it. So I'm not special in the sense of that there's just, I'm one off. I'm special in the sense of that there's a few of us. And to be honest with you, I think it has to do with growing up on the island. Like, you grew up seeing things differently when you are amongst islanders.
Yeah?
And every summer we would be in Zanzibar, in Unguja, one of the islands. Island life today is like, I could imagine people think about island life and you have a very party, festivity, worldly type of thing that is presented to you. When I say island, I mean simplicity. I mean gratitude for the smallest of things. I'm talking about things like, tape recorders and you listening to the same song, but you have to press back. Like all that old school stuff. take it even further back, because I'm on an island where technology wasn't really that speeded. So growing up on an island, you also learn to you're closer to what I call your absolute truth.
Yeah.
You live closer to what you actually see as the essence of life. And you live with that constantly. I like to clarify also, it's not like I'm born and raised here, but I get to visit the island. So I get to let go of my regular patterns, and that now gets changed immensely. You know, all of a sudden I have to deal with electricity just being shut off. You don't know how long. Warm water, scarcity of that. Bugs, malaria.
So you were talking about your deepest truth. What did you call it?
Your absolute truth.
Your absolute truth.
Definitely.
Let's talk about that. What's that?
Your absolute truth?
Yeah.
It's when you're in a state where it is pure for you somehow.
Okay.
Imagine being in a state where you're just about to jump off a cliff. That moment, right before you jump, when you're in a car and you see someone just about to crash, but they don't. That moment. The moment of jumping off the cliff and the moment right before someone crashes, I believe are identical. You don't think about food. You don't think about sleep. You don't think about payments. You don't think about invoices. You're just in your absolute truth in that moment. Heightened awareness. I believe that is also a space in which, you know, your mind palace goes to when you look yourself in the mirror, when you're in a state of doubt, when you are, in my case, in a state of joy, in a state of happiness. You can tap into your absolute truth. Well, you don't think about anything. You can be in a state of truth or your absolute truth where you are looking in a nice corner of the wall and you just disappear. And you have all these haters that go, they try to break that. That's a separate reason why I think they do that. But I think when you're just zoned in and your mind is totally, completely somewhere else, where your body doesn't even react, it just stays still in wherever state it can be in, and you disappear fully in your mind, I think that's your absolute truth. And being in that space where you're daydreaming, being in that space where you don't have to go there to disappear because you are, you know, situations require it or things are difficult, so you have to, no. But actively going there, I think there's a lot of good that can come from there. And working from your absolute truth, I think is very healthy. Did that make sense?
I'm trying to make it make sense, but
Imagine a state of nirvana, how people want to reach it when they meditate, of so-called nothingness or a minimum aspect of that nothingness.
because I've attributed that to like working from your absolute truth is about actually being clear on your values, where you're heading, what's important for you, and not going against the grains.
I think it's a part of it.
Yeah?
I think it's a part of it, definitely. Just being honest. I think it's courage and other things that have to do with if you deal with it or not. But acknowledging a situation. You're the main character in your movie. I'm the main character in my movie. It's healthy for me to try to look at me through your eyes. So if this was a movie, what would a fly on the wall be looking at all of this? Meaning my desires shouldn't weigh more than yours just because I'm the main character. So is it being evenly distributed? Are things happening here that is benefiting the us? Depending on the answer, you act accordingly to that. But your absolute truth has a lot to do with being in a space where it's just true. There's no doubt around it. There's no fidgety or should I not? This is what I believe. And then society has...
So how do you actually arrive at your absolute truth?
You have to go through a lot of dark.
What does that mean?
It means you have to look at the things that trigger you. You have to look at the things that actually make you uncomfortable and expose yourself to that in smaller dosages. I mean, that's what a vaccine is, isn't it? That you touch yourself small, you touch upon that, and then eventually you get the big dosage.
Because I think that refining process is what we all are participating in, aren't we?
No, because what we are doing, I believe, again, no science, anything about it, just how I live my life. People act in this type of state out of necessity. Something happened, now I have to change.
Okay.
Something is uncomfortable for me, now I have to do it.
Okay.
I'm saying visit it when it's not there. Visit when it's not a problem. Where no one will give you credit or discredit for you trying things. Then you just get the label of being crazy or weird. It's more comfortable to do it then. So when it happens a second time, it's not difficult for you. Like I showed you the example of my shoulder earlier. Now I actively go, like I've sat in a wheelchair for 3 days. I've walked from the beach home blindfolded. I had a friend with me, but just to understand depth, do you know how far things are when you don't see?
I can try to imagine.
It's a whole different. I told you the other day I had
Okay, hold up.
in my ears.
Let's talk about your experiments. This is what I also find fascinating about you, because we're the same age, 35, 36.
You're the dragon.
And in this period of life, basically, in Western countries, you're so busy. You're just so busy, you know, with kids, with life, your career, your work, whatever. Why would you take time to go experiment with stuff if it wasn't really important? And if it is that important, what is it giving you? And can you give us some ideas of your experiments?
Yeah, sure. I mean, first of all, shout outs to Mr. Bolton. I had a physics teacher at the international school. And I remember where he brought out this device, and he said he must have been maybe in his 40s at the time, and you know, he's going through different frequencies.
Oh.
And out of the three, biology, chemistry, and physics, I loved biology. I understood physics. Chemistry just wasn't. And my mom was actually a chemistry teacher.
Oh, wow. The disappointment.
I didn't know this until much later, to be honest, though. But in all fairness, chemistry just didn't make sense to me at the time. So he had this device, this gadget, and he would go through the different frequencies, and he says, you all should be able to hear this.
Okay, cool.
And he explained about hairs and how they fall down, and I don't know if it's still up to date, but that's what he told us. And, you know, with age, these things disappear and so on. So, and he played a frequency, and he said, I can't hear this.
Ooh.
Obviously, we're all in our, where are we, maybe 16? No, we're much younger than, we're maybe 12.
Okay.
12, 13.
Wow.
On our way to our prime, right? And it's a small buzz, but it's there. And it reminded me of old LP records where there's this little sound.
Yep.
And I connected all of those, and I said, my dad probably doesn't hear that. He probably doesn't hear those things. And I came to the realization that just because you can't experience through your five senses doesn't mean it's not there. And doesn't mean that the rest of individuals are not experiencing it. So the experiments, for me, how it all, you know, gets put together, that obviously goes on to the arm or the shoulder situation later on, where I took the wisdoms from the previously, and I went, I can prepare for that. But again, I was disappointed because I didn't. You see how it connects? I was disappointed in my shoulder because I didn't prepare enough, because I wasn't given the full information.
Yeah, you're very big on information. I need the data. I need the data. People don't know that you're big on information.
You measure things. You keep track of things, and
Yeah.
what is that?
It's observation and potential information and data to use for later on. So again, like the shoulder,
What are you preparing for, bro? Where are you going?
I think I'm preparing to be in a better state than I'm currently in.
Where are the enjoyment of now then?
It's always there.
Yeah?
Yeah. The enjoyment of now is, okay, but this is what you could have prepared up until now. Now let's work with what we have.
So you mean you enjoy what you saw?
Yeah. And I put it like this, that your present was your past's present. Your future is your current past. Ish. So if you gift the future present you something, you'll enjoy it in the present. But if you don't think that tomorrow can occur, you don't put a little bit of money in your winter jacket during the summer, so that when you wake up from your sleep during the winter and you put your hand in your pocket, money, because you placed it there in the present for the future. Make sense?
Makes sense, but isn't there a risk to be caught up in that? Just thinking future and let's prepare for the future.
There is. So what you do then is you have to have parts of your formula during your day to acknowledge the past future. That's your present. What you prepared before, us doing this here, was a dream, a thought, an ambition at some point. For me to be fully present in this, I have to acknowledge that that's what I thought of before. If you don't do the two, I think you can get caught. So I'm here, present, because I know where we were. I know how we started off with these things. I know exactly what situations we were in. Did it look like this? But it does now. So that's where gratitude comes in. So in the future, I dare to dream of things, but I have to prepare them now. Not much. It's not supposed to take 100% of my time. But 10, 15, 20? I can give the future potential me. Banks give you loans because they believe essentially on a better you in an outcome.
Exactly.
That's why you can pay them back. They essentially believe, shout out to Slante, a colleague of mine was telling me this, it's like the banks believe in your progress.
Yeah.
They believe that you will become a better version to be able to pay it back. That's why they give you the loan.
Otherwise they don't.
So banks can use this formula, but we can't use it on ourselves? For me, that doesn't make sense. The formulas are the same. How do you find the formulas? That's where the old people come in. That's where your seniors can tell you, hey, tweak your formula a bit. Now try it. See if it works for you. And if it does, it does. If it doesn't, they don't. And that's fine.
Exactly. And also, it's a nice feeling to feel like I'm heading towards a better future. Or a better current situation, right? In the future. It's nice. It's actually nice just working.
Yeah, put in the work. But what are your alternatives? Whining about your past?
Yeah, what are you going to do?
To dwell in, the world should have given me this. No, but did you try? And shout outs to the people that do. But I believe you can work with different formulas. I believe that you can put yourself in situations where people who have the information can do, like, was it Gary Vee who said that? Like, before, people used to be really stingy about giving information.
Yeah.
Until he realized that the majority of them are not going to do anything about it.
No, you can even teach them how to make gold. They won't even...
Alchemists.
They won't even get close.
They're not going to do it. So, I'm amongst those few in my circle where if somebody gives me a key, I'll try it. Maybe not now, but I'll write it down.
Yeah, that's actually true. Because when I give you a link or something like, thank you for that, it's in the queue. And then you come back a few days or weeks later. Yeah, These are my thoughts about it. I'm like, did he actually put it in the queue? And what?
100%.
So that's crazy.
100%.
That's really nice. So where are you heading? Where is there a destination? Is there something?
good.
Because listen, to be honest with you, this is what I see in my own character and yours, is that we have this almost military mindset about life. Life for us is not a game.
No. It's
Right.
a gift.
Yeah, it's not a game. So I think I speak for both of us when we're trying to make the best out of life.
100%.
What that means, how, when, me personally, I don't know. And to be honest, I don't care, and I hope you don't give it to me. Because I like this.
This is nice.
I like just doing my reps.
This is nice.
I like those. I like being in that state.
Of the absolute truth.
To do the
When you
reps.
do your reps, are you not in your absolute truth?
Yes.
Does anything
just
else
leave me the
matter?
fuck alone, and let me do my
I
reps.
do my reps.
Just don't fuck with me.
So at university, there was a word or a concept that I learned called intrinsical value.
Ooh.
And its own value. You do something for its own value.
Yup.
There's a value in this.
Yup.
Find it. That has been when you're doing your reps, you have to be focused on things going to hit you in the head.
Thank you. Before recording, we were talking about how do you actually relate to the rest of the world where everything is about getting something out of something, you know? So I'm going to go in this job just to get this. Or I'm going to go into the relationship just to get this because I hope this will be the thing that will actually make me happy, blah, blah. And I feel, I told you, I feel sometimes like I'm an outsider. People dangling stuff in front of me and saying, hey, come get this or take this. This will benefit you. I'm like, no,
You won't.
I'm good.
I'm good.
But what do you mean you're good? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I don't want it. Thank you. Thank you for offering it. But I don't want it. It doesn't appeal to me.
At all.
What is your take on that?
My take on that is I'd rather be alone, not happy, and not being able to, like, if I had social hindrances or that voice that was to tell me you can't express yourself, you can't speak your mind, I get it. Certain platforms allow it to be smoother and so on. But if I innately thought in myself I can't be me, then my question becomes, who is stopping it? And what justifies them to stop me from being me? Because clearly they can be them to the point where they can tell me how I should be in their view. That, for me, is very peculiar. It's a very odd feeling that someone should dictate such. Like I said, you can say no to certain things, but also understand that not everyone is going to accept that. For me, that's fine. There are many other people that accept it. There are few of them, but because there are many of those few, I'd rather be amongst the few.
But sometimes I can get this message or feeling that, yeah, you're just playing around. What do you mean? Like people who have this model that you have to always get something out of something, when you actually don't participate, they feel like you're just playing around.
Yeah, because
You're not serious.
they don't see it.
And I'm like, no,
They don't see
I'm very serious.
No, but you also have different amount of hours in. If you go to any gym hall in Sweden, any, and you're playing basketball, you know which lines are for basketball, right? If you're playing football inside, you know which lines are for football. And handball, same. The lines don't disappear just because you apply certain games and strategies and techniques to it. They're still there. So what I like to see is,
When do you come up with those examples?
I see it.
What do you mean you see it?
I see it.
How do you save it? Why did you save that example in your head?
Why?
Yeah. Why would you save that example? It was a perfect example, but why wouldn't you save it? What makes you see that and think, oh, I'm going to save that?
I think whenever there's diversity and a common goal, what is it that makes us all stop at the red light? What is it that we all have that we have to unite in, but then at some point, this is more right than that? In Swahili, there's a word, there's a phrase that says, someone offers you a drink of Fanta and asks, do you want this soda? And I'm sorry, but in Swahili it says, Fanta ni Fanta. I butchered it. I butchered it. He says, soda is soda, but Fanta is better, and it rhymes this way. Soda ni soda, lakini Fanta ni bora. So it's better to have a Fanta. Okay. So it's like, it's more right, or it tastes better, or it's slightly more convenient for you. We're all in the same or similar predicaments. Now we need to decide, what are we doing? We need to decide. And therefore we have laws, and we have dogmas, and we have physical, like we have these certain concepts socially that we say, okay, this is what we're doing. So when I see and I know this formula, and I see a gym hall, I've been in those situations, those predicaments, where sometimes people have been practicing handball. Someone's been playing football, or they've halved the court. It just, you see it. It doesn't look like a unity, but it looks like a unit, but it looks like two units. And it sticks to my mind.
Nice, I like it. All right, so we talked about your absolute truth, but you have this concept you call the 25%
the trajectory. Yeah.
Is it in the book?
No. I'm thinking about writing about it. But
because for me, it sounds very appealing. Break it down. What does it mean, the 25% trajectory?
So, in a compass, you have north, south, east, and west. Christian theology or any form of Abrahamic religion, shout outs to the Mandes and the Yazidis as well, who often get left behind in these discussions.
Absolutely.
But they state that Isa alayhi salam, or Jesus in this case, or the wise men trying to head for Jesus, were following the northern star. Right? So, as long as you're heading north, eventually you'll reach to your destination. You'll ask around, it might take you a few extra days, you went off course. Side quest, if you're in a forest, it's difficult to go straight, right? So what you do is you hold a stick loosely like this in your hand, and it will help you navigate to that direction.
Nice.
Anyway, so if you're trying to head north, 25, 25, and 25% will altogether be 75%, the majority of where you're not trying to go. You're not trying to go there. 25% is north is where you're heading. A little plus, a little minus, but as long as you're heading that way, you will reach a destination. You're not trying to be a sniper with coordinates. You're trying to hit about there. As long as you're within that realm, you will be satisfied at the end of that journey. That's my theory.
So 75% is being lost.
75% is where you don't want to go. And then people go, yeah, but eventually you will reach to... No, you're not trying to head there.
So let's take an example. How does that look in the case of career, whatever?
Career?
Yeah.
Career, I don't have a good example, but I can give you a fitness example.
Okay,
which is just in my mind.
Go with that one.
You want abs, for whatever reason.
Okay, cool.
You want abs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Then you're not working arms.
No.
You're not working legs. You're not working shoulders. You want abs. So your 25% is to practice your core. As long as you're practicing your core, at some point at the end of the day, you'll get those abs.
Okay.
Or at least you'll know where you're heading-ish to get your abs.
Yeah, okay.
It's knowing, in many other books that I've read, they say it in other ways. They'll say things like, learn how to say no to things.
Yeah.
Or they'll say it like, remove the noise, or it's the same thing. Or similar, I believe. I say 25%. Because if you can get the correct coordinates, Don't play around the borders.
Yeah.
That's where I think people make the mistake. If you're in London, and you're central London, have you been to London? If you're central London, you have zones. Zone 1, Zone 2, Zone 3, and then outwards, right? Heathrow comes out, maybe it's things that way, depending where you're going. Anyway, the point is, Zone 1 is this block.
It's a block, yeah.
Zone 2 is this block.
The other.
But just because you're in Zone 2, you could be at the other end of Zone 2.
Just still working towards.
But you're still within Zone 2.
Yeah.
So what people do, I believe, is when they do these type of behavioral changes, they comment about the borders. And they're very touchy about the borders. Yeah, but I want to do that. Yeah, but if you do that, you're no longer in Zone 2. But if you play within this realm of the far end of Zone 2 and the far end of this side of Zone 2, you're still getting Zone 2. That's my point. Stick within those 25. Stop playing around the borders.
How do you actually confirm that those are the
Borders?
Yeah, those are the borders. Those are the 25% that I actually want to
Work towards.
You have to be very diligent in your notes. You have to give yourself time. You have to say that, you know what, I am doing this thought experiment for X amount of time. And then you value it. Did it give me any results? Any. How many of those results did it give? This many. Okay. Now you try it again. And you get closer to reaching those 2 or 3 or whatever the results were. Did we get more? If the answer is no, maybe you should reevaluate. Stretch on that border a little bit. If the answer is yes, double down.
So this includes a lot of experimenting.
Much.
And maybe falling on your back and then getting up again and doing
100%.
something else. But yeah, I can relate to the Northern Star because here's the thing. You actually develop and change during the years. So what was your Northern Star or the 25% 10 years ago isn't that anymore. You've changed even trends. 10 years ago, it was nice to look bulky and strong and big. Today, it's just nice looking, thin and smooth and flexible.
I've never understood trends.
So it's kind of what is in right now, and let's work towards that. But what I'm saying is you actually change in what you desire and want and wish for. Right?
Låt mig få avbryta dig lite kort. Varje måndag morgon så skickar du ut en så kallad powerboost fylld med utbildning, tips, tricks och goodiebag som du kan ladda ner i form av pdf-filer eller böcker eller annat som jag har sparat och skapat just för dig så att du kan levla upp. Vad du behöver göra nu är att gå in på sundaybrunch.se och skriv upp dig så att du får dessa powerboosts varje vecka.
Where is that in the equation of things? Like, shouldn't a person be able to just throw away the model and just get one new?
Ask yourself this question. How easy is it for people to say that they were wrong and say sorry and apologize?
We talked about this the other day.
We did.
About the ego and apologizing.
We did. If you are an individual who has character that can apologize, I think you can also be characterized as an individual who would have it easier to change your character. Because you can admit, you don't lose face, it doesn't faze you either that these things happen. But you have to be able to stand there and just, I messed up. I had a few, checkpoints where I thought if I would, like Super Mario, you play around and then you don't have to start again from zero. I had a few of those in play.
Continue.
I was wrong. Apologize accordingly to all the individuals who have to do with that journey. Then you get back on your horse and keep riding.
Yeah, because to be honest, I feel like me personally had had a lot of life. Just life. Just life being life. And me, I don't know, this is maybe my mental model or my destiny, if you want to believe in that, or God or whatever. Like you're going to be put in some situations right now. This is your way to learn. You said that. Your superpower is I can actually peep game early.
Yeah, it doesn't have to happen to me, right?
Yeah. Definitely. But sometimes even all the calculations, drawings, whatever, you still find yourself in places that you didn't anticipate. You're like, oh, this was new. This is new data. It's very costly, but it's actually data. It's good. I know this now. And I can, as you said, get up on the horse, move forward, be more strategic, more conscious about that. But there's no way I could have figured that out where I was 10 years ago. There's just no way. I didn't know. Nobody warned me. I didn't do diligence. You call it whatever you want. Wait, have you ever been in that situation where we said in Swedish they find you with your pants down? Like, oh shit, this is the whole wrong direction. What am I doing here? And how did I end up here? Have I been in that kind of a situation? Good question. Good question. Haven't thought of it. Have I been in a situation where I'm assuming uncomfortable and just everything? You were going to Tokyo. You ended up in Dublin. And you're like, what the hell is this? I never thought I was in Dublin, bro.
It wasn't that tough. We were going to Izmir, my brother and me and my twin, and we ended up in the Ukraine.
I wasn't talking about actual travel.
I know.
I'm just doing it.
I know.
Okay, that one's for another one. That's like, holy shit.
Oh,
I just mean like, oh shit, this thing wasn't
supposed to go down like this.
No, it wasn't.
And I'm assuming for the negative.
Yep.
Because a friend of mine said, or a friend of ours.
You usually remember the negative, but I can imagine some positive things also.
Oh yeah. Because like a friend of ours said at one point, he said he gets a lot of cred for introducing people when they get married. And his answer on that was, but do I get the same cred for the divorces? And that stuck with me.
Damn.
You see, because the formula, again, is all of us. But how it plays out is individual based. That's why those type of things stick to me. I don't know, to be honest. I don't have a good example right now. I was thinking of being in a situation where maybe it's a bit of a side quest. I don't know. You'll have to pull me back. But I do remember being younger, and Ali Arham, my mom's grandmother was sick, and my mom had to go to Zanzibar more often and so on, and I was without mom for a while. And I remember that was a tough period, a very tough period of time. You're without your mom.
Yeah, sure.
And, that was a bit difficult.
But have you ever experienced a life crisis?
I experienced a life.
You even thinking about it, it tells me that you haven't. But listen, it's okay.
But here's the thing. By those definitions, I probably have. But this is what I'm trying to say, that I have certain tools that I implement that I don't see it as that. That's why I'm like, okay, a life crisis. I gotta think. Because here's the thing, you can dwell in the past or you can work with future. Very cliche. But I actually put in the work. So I don't think much of the past in that sense. Unless it's, this person said this in this critical moment, this person said this, gave me that key, this formula. Then I'll everything. But it's like I don't have regrets, if that makes sense. I think people who live with a lot of regrets, it's very easy to, it was in this, but it wasn't. It is what it is until it isn't. So That's why. It's not like I'm avoiding it. It's just I don't.
No, I get it. Because if you have thought about it and maybe prepared for it and maybe like accepted it, like this is something that can actually happen.
Yeah.
Is it in my hands? No.
No.
Can I control it?
No.
Am I okay with it happening if it happens?
You have no choice.
Right?
That's the thing. People think they have a choice. It's like, am I okay with this?
Try something else. Try not being okay with it.
But it's also like life will pull you. You wake up today, you just wake up and you're on a train. 2 questions. Where's the train heading? And how did I get here? Whatever the case may be, you feel that you're being pulled towards something.
Yep.
The end, your last breath.
Exactly.
A place where you're going to go. Wherever the case may be, you feel that pull. Right? For me, that pull is the acknowledgement that you can't stop that train. Yeah, you'll stop at certain stations and see things, but you can't actually stop the G-force of
the pull.
You can't you can't do anything about that. So
it's unpredictable. The pull is unpredictable.
Incredibly unpredictable. But the best that you can do in those situations is prepare yourself for the unprepared. So we're talking about abs. Cool. But work from your abs out. How prepared are you in case of being unprepared? Rappers and MCs, they often freestyle a lot. And in case they lose their text, in case something happens, they rely on themselves.
Yeah, to just make something up.
Get the job done. Finish the race. Same formula. So I don't know if that answers your question, but there's this constant way of working with what is, being in tune to what is actually being pulled.
I think, yeah, but because what I hear is, and speaking to you is very sobering.
Nice.
Because what I've been on the latest months or whatever is that, how is this reality? So whatever comes in, like, where's the reality in this? Because if we start building something that is not reality, then it's just a question of time when it actually starts to crumble. And you feel like, well, what happened? Well, you built something you built a house on sand or something. So the validation process, it's not romantic. It's actually quite boring because you're not that, oh, I'm so high, we're gonna do. No, you're not. And you just become this, you're like this boring ass line.
That's me.
With feelings.
That's me.
And that's what I've been feeling a lot lately. And they're like, hey, listen, look at the right, look to the left.
But let me stop you though. Let me stop you though. Zoom out a little bit from that. The small things in life you do enjoy much more than anyone else.
Much.
Because more. The majority of it is.
Let me give you an example. People told me, listen, in Sweden it's just raining now. Take a trip. I'm like, where to? Where to?
Where should I go? Yeah.
Well, go to Albania, try Turkey. Why?
What am I looking for when I get there?
Well, you're going to see the sun. I've seen the sun. I like the sun. Now it's raining. Can we just have it raining?
Yeah. Is that okay?
Is that okay to rain? I prefer sun, but now it's raining. So if I'm going to go to that trip, me actually putting in time and effort, not to speak about money and whatever, what's the alternative cost for me here? Well, let me think. Let's say this trip cost $10,000. How many books can I buy for 10,000 facts? How many coffee cups can I buy to my friends and just have this conversation?
Fact.
How many, I don't know. It's not about the money. It's that if you tell me where are you actually enjoying life, is this moment right here. Just
hold up.
right.
Hold up. I need to read you this.
Yeah, sure. Do it.
So this book I've been really meditative on.
Yeah.
My uncle, shout out to my uncle, who gave me this. It's 2 books, so it's this side and
oh wow, it's 2 books. Lovely.
It's 2 books in one. So it's about this guy called Nasruddin.
Nasruddin. Yeah.
You have him in very many cultures, right? And one of them, it's called needs. So bear with me. It says, he goes like this. As the mullah emerged from the mosque after prayers, a beggar sitting in the street solicited alms. He wanted something. The following conversation ensued. Mullah, are you extravagant? Beggar, yes. Mullah, do you like sitting around drinking coffee and smoking? Beggar, yes. Mullah, I suppose you like to go to the baths every day. Beggar, yes. Mullah, and maybe amuse yourself even by drinking with your friends. Beggar, yes, I like all these things. Toot toot, said the mullah, and gave him a gold piece. A few yards further on, another beggar who had overheard this conversation begged for alms importunately. Mullah, are you extravagant? Beggar, no. Mullah, do you like sitting around drinking coffee and smoking? Beggar, no. Mullah, I suppose you like to go to the baths every day. Beggar, no. Mullah, and maybe amuse yourself even by drinking with your friends? Beggar, no. I want only to live meagerly and to pray. Whereupon the mullah gave him a small copper coin. But why, wailed the beggar, do you give me, an economical and pious man, a penny, when you give that extravagant fellow a sovereign? Ah, replied the mullah, his needs are greater than yours. So,
What's the takeaway here?
the takeaway from this is just because something looks to be equal doesn't mean that they're identical.
Like that.
Meaning, in this state, when you wanted coffee, someone else had bread. You traded. How you calculated that this is worth as much as that, that's equal. But to say that you needed bread and I needed coffee, and then you actually needed coffee and I needed the bread, we're not identical.
Yep.
We're equal.
Exactly.
So, why I brought this up is that a lot of people want identical, but what they're fighting for is equal.
Tell me more.
Equal, you need to look bigger perspective. Like I said, if you're trading this with that, someone who doesn't have something, what is it that growing up we used to have, the Danish kroner was more worth than the Swedish kroner. So people in the kiosks would go, yeah, we can take Danish money, but then it's 1-to-1. Because at the end of the day, they'll get more from that, right? So yeah, I'll give you the trade. But then I'm going to gain from that later, if that's okay with you. And often they say yes. So my point was, you need to be able to look at things from other calculations of value systems rather than 1-to-1 or in being of identical. That was my point.
I love it because that's where the weirdness begins. For me, at least, is that I'm not excited of all of that. I don't mind it, but I'm not excited to do a trip or whatever. If you give me 5 interesting books, and maybe some new coffee, tea, whatever, bro, I love you.
Good.
I love you.
Yeah.
And I see you in a week.
Yeah.
That's it. I love you. Now go someplace and let me just be, and so I can do my. That's it. I don't want to do it. I've done that, and I enjoyed it, whatever. But this is much nicer for me. So when you are that outsider in plenty of these situations, then you become weird. Let's take religion, for example, and theology and whatever, and you are a big thinker in this field. It's not as black and white always. Like, I can actually go cherry pick something. Oh, I like this in Buddhism. Oh, I like this in Islam. I like this in Christianity, whatever. And make a blend, understand it. Then you have your own set of
Value system.
No, you've cemented your spirituality.
Maybe you chose Christianity. Maybe you chose Islam. Whatever. So, but then you don't just shut the door.
No.
You know, there's a door open. Okay, I like the concept. Let me see if I can get something out of this. I like this. Okay, what is this? Wow, this was new. I didn't know. But when you come to people sometimes, and you're trying to foster a conversation about, no, wait, that is not included in my setup. I'm like, dude, just entertain the thought. Don't adapt everything. It's too much. Just entertain it.
It can't. It's too much.
And if you can see something good, why don't you?
Because it requires of them
Requires what?
energy that they don't believe that they have. So
What kind of
I tell my students sometimes, they're about 16, 17, and I
Yeah.
tell them, 10 years ago, you were what? And then they all go, 6, 7 years old. I go, okay. So in 10 years, how old are you going to be? 26, 27. I go, So if I gave you a question now at 16, you would probably answer it differently 10 years ago, right? Yes. What makes you think you wouldn't answer it differently in 10 years?
There you go.
And they go,
Exactly. Exactly. You don't know, bro.
So I tell them, one of the biggest issues that you have in your generation, when I tell them, sadly enough, it's not obviously all of them, but my hype, that's what I say. You think you're done.
Oh.
You
reach your conclusions.
Yeah, you think this is just it. This is it. I'm done.
But that's typical being young, right?
But this is the problem with that. Grown people or young people grow up to become grown people. And when they do that, they think they're done. It's like, yeah, just because I faced a challenge now doesn't mean that it's only supposed to be faced by one challenge.
What does that mean in theological and religious context? Does that mean you still search and introduce new concepts and dissect them and teach and try them?
All Abrahamic religions, all of them have a sense of morale in regards to what is the basic fundament to call yourself this.
Yeah, exactly. And you have to declare something.
You have to declare something.
Yeah.
And anything, that's what I call a border.
Yeah.
A borderline.
A border.
Anything else between that is for you to learn from. So you look at, like I said, the Abrahamic religions, you have certain concepts which are borders, ideas, and others that are up for discussion. Now, I think a lot of people confuse the two because they're not in the world. You've handed it or you've learned it from culture or your parents or whoever's around you, and you don't know what is a border and what is just discussion. And what amongst it is actually theology, how much of it is culture, how much of it is things that not everyone is agreeing upon, and it's up to you to figure it out. And what stance do you have in that? And in regards to religion, I think it becomes that. People believe that religion is just one semantic thing, and then that's it.
That's it.
Not knowing that people throughout history have all called it the same words for religious dogma or group or,
Because I imagine your experiences, as you said, 17 and 27 is not the same. You actually gain new experiences.
Definitely, with similar situations.
Yeah, so you're supposed to, or at least I think I'm supposed to, integrate those. Make sense out of them. Learn from them.
A friend of mine told me, you keep seeing the same type of problems because you didn't solve them the first time.
There you go. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And when you do that, they stop appearing.
Yeah.
You know how to...
They're not in your radar anymore, right?
I agree to that. Definitely.
Lovely, lovely. So, if you had everything you wished for, what would that look like?
Everything I wished for?
Yeah.
I don't wish for many things.
Yeah, I always know about that.
I wish to die with Shahada. That's something I wish for, and I'm very stressed about that.
Really? Why would you be stressed about that?
Because I was in situations where it was,
I don't know. Let's just declare. Dying with Shahada means that you declare that there's only one God, and He's the creator and sustainer.
No, it's just
yeah,
definitely.
And the proper model.
So the reason I'm saying this is because when you're about to crash or, you're in a car or, things get a bit turbulent, and it might fall you more easily to go and give another reaction, right?
It's so easy. Holy fuck. You're dead. Doesn't matter though. Doesn't matter though.
For me, it does.
Yeah, why?
It's very important because
What
all
does it
of
mean?
this, because it's like you did all this work.
You think it's lost because you said, "Oh fuck"?
No. But I want to have a good. I think it goes into the noble.
It's like writing a story.
It's like writing a story, but also I think it's your own narrative of yourself. It's like you've uphold the thought for so long.
Yeah.
You know,
finish.
could you finish it
You
right?
finish it. Yeah.
You
finish it.
in your own terms. It's like when you play chess. They say that when you have to trade, those ones. I forgot what they're called. The markers or the players. Trade on your terms rather than the other player forcing you to trade, because then you lose.
Exactly. You lose your strategy.
It's right then. So,
But
I don't know. What is your take on that? If you had,
I think
what do you want? What do you actually want other than peace at heart?
I'm going to be honest with you. I think my experiences has contributed for me to be more spiritually fluid.
Nice.
Or theologically fluid.
Does it give you peace?
It gives me reality. And I feel peaceful with reality. And that includes also not knowing. Like, I don't know. Yeah, sounds good.
It's all a guessing game, yeah.
I like it. Sounds good. Sounds logical. Sounds convincing. But, bro, I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. Because, listen. Again, when I meditated, I experienced some stuff. I don't know. I don't know what that is. Happened.
But it's an experience.
It's
You
experience.
can't deny that you experienced something.
Yeah, is it something that is there but you shouldn't be able to speak about or experience, or I don't know. So I'm like, hey, let me just be open and let me be clear with my foundations, and let me not make this about me. It's so easy to become something about you. You have to have this set up. You have to be this convinced. You have to make all those good deeds. So it's so much about you, and it feels. It feels like a jail cell. In the end, you feel trapped. I'm like, it's claustrophobic in here. Why I want out? Yeah, so you just want to open the door and see what happens. And also, what you said was, they think they're done. And I can honestly say that I'm not done. Hey, if you reach the conclusion, I salute you. I respect you.
I want to hear about it. So here's my theory about that. When someone says that they believe, for whatever the reason may be, that whatever they believe in is absolute truth.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to bet my whole life upon. This is what I'm going to bet my whole existence about.
I'm going to die for this shit.
I'm going to die for this shit. Like,
I'm like, oh shit.
whatever the case may be, you believe that this is absolute truth.
Tell me, how did you come up with that conclusion, right?
How? Yeah, just tell me.
Tell me
inform
about the method.
Tell me how you got to that. Tell me why it is like that. What is it that makes you so convinced?
Yeah.
I'm curious because you have to put in context. You could be wrong. That's a healthy position to be in, I believe. Like, yeah, I'm convinced. It's like in an argument. If me and you are arguing about something, you know, we're having a very fiery discussion. Call it what you want. You have a stance and I have a stance, right? I'm convinced about my stance, so I'll present that. You're convinced about your stance, so you'll present that.
That's cool.
Now the question becomes later, how do we deal with it from there on? That's what I'm trying to get to. Because, like, yeah, I could be wrong. And at that moment, you realize that you are wrong, apologize. Acknowledge it. Let the person know. It's healthier. That's the formula I use. Someone tells you that this is how it was, or this is okay, cool. Well, then how about this?
Do you have anything that you're absolutely convinced about?
Me?
Yeah.
God.
Me too. To be honest, yeah, me too. That's the only thing.
Yeah, God.
I don't have anything else. Because God is something I've experienced. It's not just, yeah, I read about him. Seems to be a pretty good guy, worth following, worshiping, whatever, you know? It's not just that. It's just, with time, you actually get to experience him. Or is it just me? I don't know.
I believe so.
But,
I believe as well, so.
yeah, it's when you actually experience it, I'm like, oh shit, I don't have the vocabulary, but yeah, cool, nice, I like that.
It's like, a lot of people tell me often, just in the concept of God and Creator.
Yeah.
And they'll say things like, I don't believe in nothing. An agnostic. Like, they're not even agnostic. They're like fully atheist. So that's cool. If that's their proposition. But my question then becomes, okay, but would you be convinced over the thought that there's something bigger than you? Not necessarily God. God is
No, aliens, whatever.
just something else that's not you. And they go, no. Okay. So when you're in an airplane and you read about, some of them just, many are teens, right?
Yeah.
But even some growns, they're like, no, it's just not the case. Okay. So when you start to experience things, again, we can only work with the five senses that we have, at least for this argument. And they'll say things like, yeah, but if you're in an airplane, you feel turbulence. And I go, okay. So would you ask for something outside of you to help you out of the situation that you're in, or to take you out of that situation? They'll go, yeah. So what is that? Not necessarily God, but you would ask for something other than you.
It's not logical.
In people's hearts, it is wherever, like, people are convinced of whatever they are. Aristotle was talking before about if you take a stone and you put it in the sea, or the ocean, that the stone, because it's a solid, it won't stop in the water or in the air, but it will sink all the way to the bottom because it unites with its own types.
Okay.
And its stones and the rocks are their own. If you put water in water, it will blend amongst water because it's its own type. And there were 4 different types. It's a long story.
Okay.
But the point is, it was his attempt to try to see other things. Okay, how do things actually unite? Thought experiment. Tried it out. And people are convinced over the reasons that they're convinced about. And that's fine.
Wow. Well said.
And that's fine.
Well said.
It's all good at the end of the day.
But why is it so sensitive?
Because you're essentially, I believe, attacking someone's own intellect. By you criticizing my theory, people feel like you are criticizing me. Those are 2 different things. That's why I said the superpower is if you can apologize quickly, you can separate the 2. Because now we're talking about a theory. You're not talking about me, and I'm not talking about you as a person, as a character, as a being, as the pain and trials and tribulations that you've been through. It's not that. It's this abstract concept of theory.
How?
But people take it personally. Because then imagine the work that needs to be done. Like, shout outs to any reverts. No matter what religion you revert to.
You actually did some work.
You did some work. You put in some work.
Or left.
And you change.
Or whatever.
And you change your fundaments onto something else.
That is crazy.
Hey, shout outs to them.
Yeah. Really. So, what do you believe life wants from you? I wrote life because, I don't know, it's like I characterize some, I obviously believe in God, but I characterize different levels of that. So you got the universe, you got the life, you got God, you got destiny, whatever. But when I wrote life, is this organic thing. You said the train was always moving. I feel like life is always expanding and growing and whatever, dying and reoccurring again and rebirthing. And if you just look at life, let's just forget about God for a second. Forget about God, life as an organic system. Obviously, make sure that you came into existence. So one has to ask, what does life want from you? I know what it wants from a flower or a bee or a bird. What do you think life wants from you? To be the best version of me. Just as the flower.
How many generations did Michael Jackson get? 2?
Yeah, maximum.
You think our kids will know the impact of Michael Jackson? The way that we saw Michael? Or the way our parents saw Michael? I doubt it. So what did he get? 3 generations? And
So why should we strive to be the best version if it doesn't matter?
because it does matter, because you're making the best version, and you're surrounding, you're doing it the best of justice. By you not being able to lean on anyone, that means that for the people who have the strength that can hold it up, who's going to carry the load? So if you can do the best of what you can do, that is a dream for other people. I saw yesterday, do you know how many high percentage of people can't do a pull-up?
Really?
After the age of 30? It was like 60%. Hey, don't quote me on numbers, but it was a very high number of just people don't do it. It's easy for you to do. It's easy for me to do at this point in time. Hasn't always been, in my case. But we put in the work. My point with this is, what's easy for you is not easy for others. I had a poem that I wrote several years ago titled The Evil. And it's about, sexual abuse and so on and so forth. Alhamdulillah, nothing has happened to me. But it came in a story, and obviously the reason for writing it was a lot of people gave me their stories on a very short period of time.
Oh, wow, okay.
And I saw it as, okay, life is telling me, obviously now, within the span of 2 weeks, they can't write their story. They don't know each other, these 6 people. I can. I said, I can put myself in that situation. I can write. It took me 1.5 years to write the poem. I did research, and I felt terrible when I was done.
It's a terrible subject.
It's a very terrible subject. But it's real.
It's real.
And my point is,
it's real.
Timeless. And it's people, sadly enough, who are putting other people, messing up their generations, not just them.
Oh,
Their generation.
yes, sir.
Those things. And I said to myself, okay, life in this point, and I started to think that voice again. It comes at times, it's true.
Yeah.
And the voice would go, are you really going to write this poem? This is going to look like...
This is going to look like you've been some...
you.
Oh, shit.
And you're writing it as a first person. What do you... in the poem, I'm writing, my uncle did this.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Uncle's done nothing.
Yeah. Shout out to the uncle.
Shout out to the uncle.
If you're listening. Well, yeah.
But it's real, and it's many people's narratives. So I said to myself, you know what? If they can't write this story and speak about it in this type of platform as poetry and so on, maybe I should. Maybe that's one of the reasons I'm on this. I get a story for me to write other people's stories.
It's like comedians, but much darker.
In this case, yeah. Much darker. So I think life wants that kind of stuff from you. Just, if you reflect, you'll see opportunities, and then you can be of service to the people around you.
I love that. To be honest, I've been feeling like maybe I'm not that special. Maybe we're not special.
We're not that. Yeah, we're not.
And maybe
Michael got 3 generations.
Yeah, maybe it's just nice being among others.
It's a vibe.
Like, I don't have to have this chip on my shoulder or want to do something extraordinary or whatever. Just, hey, just blend in.
But are you comfortable with it? If you're not comfortable with it, maybe there's something special about you that's supposed to do something with that.
I don't mean in blend in like just don't do it, just chill on Netflix or whatever. No, I mean like, as you said, when you see it through other people's eyes, you actually get, I bet the other person is also thinking this. I bet they're also worried about this. I bet they also want something out of life and want to blossom to the fullest.
But circumstances,
right?
Things happen.
So just that thought just humbles you, like, yo, chill. It's not about you.
That's why I approach it more as a sniper. Like, I approach it more as, if you can do something, see the target and try to approach it. Rather than, before, because I had so much energy, I tried to do everything all the time, regardless who was around, regardless. we're gonna get that mission completed. Now I'm like, hold up, there might be a better time for everyone if I approach it with this method rather than just,
because I can go full grit. Yeah, but we fuck up some things along the way. Yeah,
exactly.
I can relate because I used to drive like 260, and people were holding signs. Slow the fuck down. Slow down. Yo, there's a red light over there. There's a curve. There's whatever. I'm like, oh, shut the fuck up. And it messes you up. It messes the life up, basically. You go against the grain. That's why now I'm almost totally opposite. So I'm like, they're like, yeah, so what are you going to do on your vacation? I don't know.
About to find out. Yeah.
What do you mean you don't know?
No idea. You have
you have a slide.
You have a slide.
But you know your keys.
That's what I'm saying. You have the trajectory.
You know your keys.
You know that you're going to be somewhere.
I'm going to probably do some podcasting.
Yeah.
I'm going to probably read some book, go out to the woods, meet a nice friend, buy him a lunch.
25.
That's my 25%. I'm good with that. If I can have those things, everything else is just a bonus. So that's why I don't go now out of my way and actually plan every single vacation and da-da-da. I used to do that. I did like 20 countries in 33 days.
Hey, mashallah, you also did 5 books in 5 months, though.
And I did well.
And out. Not like, man.
But some of those...
Don't have it close.
Some of those... Yeah. I try not to involve other people with my own experiments because I know they can be hurtful. So I do my own thing. If I wanna challenge myself, I do it on my own way where it doesn't bother people. Because of the speed? Or in case it doesn't go the way you want it to, you don't want to get that backlash? No, it's just because people don't get it.
Gotcha.
Like, why would you do that? Nobody would even read them. Yeah, I know, but why would you do that?
You get to hear that?
No, like, even if you get to hear that, like, who's going to read those? Doesn't matter.
Me.
Doesn't matter.
I'll read them.
Matter. It really doesn't matter because I just want to experiment and see where can I evolve. That's it. And
but what were like 3 things that you learned from that experience of 5 books in 5?
I learned that there's no such thing as wait till I get in the flow or wait till I get inspiration or wait till I get the best thought. You just do the work. You just sit there, do your timer and press the timer 50 minutes or whatever, and you just write. But also I learned that, hey, stop filtering your words.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You would filter your words?
Well,
a lot?
No, but listen, when you write, there's more thought into it, right? Than just speak.
Yeah.
So you actually think about, okay, I was going to this land, how could a reader understand this, da-da-da, all those things. But that process, please, cut it. The process made me go like, this is what I'm thinking about right now, and it's more than good enough, so just write. Don't make a fuss out of it. Don't make a fuss out of it. You don't have to sound smart or knowledgeable or whatever. No,
just write.
Just write it. Nobody cares. I don't care. They don't care. It's not
But
everybody.
Do you identify as an author?
No.
So then what gave you the meaning to just write it for writing?
I had this urge for, I think I do this to myself. Whenever I feel like I'm ready for examination. So I make up these things, like write just 5 books.
Gotcha.
And test myself. Are you really there? So I've been working like 2-3 years on my discipline and trying to fight my inner voice and demons and doing things regardless what I think about them. Okay, let's put you to the test. Let's make up a test where it says, do 5 books, 5 months. And let's see if you can wake up every day 1 hour earlier than your kid. And when you put your kids to sleep, go write 1 hour more. Can you actually do that?
You can do that.
I don't know. Let's see.
Let's see. Let's find out.
Let's find out.
That's the one I like.
And the most thing I like was that the third book was like, man, what the hell am I doing? It becomes like insanity, to be honest. It becomes like nobody's watching. You can just cancel this, abort mission. There's no need to.
There are no repercussions.
Yeah, and I'm like, hold up. No, it is repercussions for me. Because because listen, this is what I believe. I don't believe you can actually evolve if you don't graduate.
Gotta finish the race.
Bro, you have to graduate. I don't know what it is, but you have to. If you don't graduate, it's just words and it's nice.
They were telling me this about the diplomas at uni.
Yeah?
They were like, oh, but I only have my thesis. But then you've collected documentation. You don't have a degree.
I'm sorry.
Respectfully, you don't have a degree.
Yeah,
you have collected documentation.
But
the requirements to have this title is this. Yes. Whatever you tell yourself, hey, I get it. Life happens. But you don't. Yeah, it ain't. And it's not my criteria.
No.
These are your criteria.
Yeah.
But you're because it's happening to you. I often ask. There you go.
It's actually putting yourself in that position.
Yeah,
you have to take responsibility, bro.
It's like, look, I joke a lot with my wife, and she's the punchline sometimes. But she does funny things that she doesn't know that she does. It's funny, and I laugh very freely. And she gets a bit agitated, and I ask her, but if it didn't happen to you,
you would love it.
Wouldn't you have laughed? And like, so the joke in itself,
super funny,
was funny. Now it just happened to be you.
Happened to be you. But no, I like that. Actually, seeing what you actually can go for, testing it, that's a part of being actually the best you can be. It's not for someone to give you a compliment or applause or what. No, it's not that. The biggest takeaway I took from that experiment was I wanted to face my inner critic head on.
So is it loud? Your inner critic?
Some days.
Has it been loud?
Some days, yeah, some days. Of course, some days. So it was like I was poking the bear. I woke up the bear. So when it woke up, it was like, yo, what the fuck? What are you doing? I'm like, yeah, get the fuck up.
We're here now.
Get the fuck up. Because I want to rule this shit. I want to have my own life. I want to be not you. So our relationship been much better since then. And it's not as intensive and intruding as it used to be. But yeah, I have it on a
short leash.
Yeah. And sometimes he gets away a little bit, and I'm like, yo, hold up.
But what tools do you have?
There you go, journaling. Let's talk about journaling. We talked about journaling there just before we started the recording. Journaling, I make myself write a whole page of A5 every morning. It's just because I want to beat him before he wakes up. So I'm there before him. And I'm like, okay, this is what I'm having in my life. This is what's going on. I like this. Thank you, God. I appreciate you. And oh, by the way, we're not finished. There's more. There's more. Let's talk about your fears. Let's talk about why you are hesitant. Let's talk about what is it. And I write in almost every journal I write, my brain is telling me this. Blah, 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 blah. Thank you. Now we know we exposed you.
You labeled it as my brain?
Yeah.
Question. Or maybe that's where bipolar and other insanity comes in.
Yeah.
But what would happen if you would label it choose what you would label it rather than my brain? Like you
I used to have names for them.
Okay.
Yeah. I used to have names.
Tell us more.
I used to have categories. They're like 8 categories. One category is about maybe my financial life. One category was about my career, whatever. And I named them. Oh, there's Henrik again. Oh, there's John again. Oh, there is, whenever they come up with the categories, you're going to do this job thing now. And what about your, oh, Henrik, what's up, man? You're good. You're good. So I can see them and I can see when they appear. But now they become fewer and the subjects of fewer and the appearance of more or less.
But when you started journaling until the point now where you went from 8 categories with very specific names,
There was the brain. It was a free for all and that party.
What is the time span that we're talking about?
Like 3 years.
3 years?
Yeah.
Out of the, because I'm thinking, people that are listening and so on, to give them concrete tools. Which tools did you use? This was 3 years. Did you do conversations with anyone? Did you do any professional type of therapy or any of those type of things?
No, I didn't find that helpful.
Did you increase, but you tried it?
I tried it.
Okay. Did you increase better food or were you out running more? Cardio, any of those type of things?
No, I just trained and so on, but I made it a routine that, don't let your thoughts stay in your head. When you actually write them on paper, you can see them and you can expose them. And you can, because I think, let me give you an example. The language and the visualizations in your head while you're dreaming are different than in reality. In the dream, small stuff, you poured milk on the table, whatever, it becomes a huge thing in the dream.
It becomes the topic of the dream.
The theme of the dream was... shit, everyone's dying, it's just milk. Holy shit, whatever. You use the wrong spoon, or I don't know. It's symbolic, right? It's symbolic. It's a language that has to be translated into reality. That's why you have the dream translators or whatever. They want to know what happened to your subconscious that made those images appear in your dream and those feelings physiologically, and then take them to unravel or understand something in your current life. Oh, that's because you've been stressing with your wife, or your kid has been sick, or that's the milk thing. They put symbols in them. That's what Freud did and Jung or whatever. Okay, cool. But then you have another level, whereas your mental life is another language than your actual life. The external life is not the internal life. So when you say something out loud, you actually get to hear it and like, that sounds stupid, bro. That sounds silly. Why would this girl reject me? She actually liked me and sent me a text the other day. So you get to have a loop of reverb where you actually, it's not true.
You said something very interesting there that hit me the other day. I had a friend of mine who passed, and every year, and on the day that she passed, I read the Jews of Amma. I read some for in her honor, right? From my parents who told me, when they exactly, etc. And it hit me how reading out loud does something.
Yep.
And I wanted to say, in contrast to this, because I don't think a lot of people, it's also a technique when studying a language, to read out loud. Take any book and read it out loud. Actually pronounce the words and give it sound.
Wow, okay.
It does something. And the reason I'm saying this is because even if you have a journal or any form of text that you have composed, read it out loud. But I don't think, and there's another superpower that we got in the environment that I grew up in, people weren't judging about that. I had a few friends of mine who couldn't sing and so on in their homes because people were very negative about it.
Yeah.
Hey, don't stop doing that. Hey,
It's messing up the vibe.
And then they stopped doing it, right?
Yeah.
And I believe that's maybe what hits into some insecurities with some people. Whilst, I'm writing poetry or whatever, and I'm just screaming out loud, my parents never said nothing at all. And so very supportive in that sense. So what I wanted to say was, for people even at home, when they are writing, say things out loud. It will give you a different way of being with yourself. And that voice, maybe that you hear at times, might sound slightly different when the voice comes out rather than just staying inside.
Exactly. I love it. Yeah, definitely. I'll try. So we talked about this thing called life crisis. But has there been a period of your life where there's been a little bit more challenging?
Mom, not having mom around, that was challenging.
When you were a kid? For how long?
Periods of times.
Like months?
Yeah, mom could be like, imagine this, one situation, grandmother is sick, great-grandmother is sick, she comes home, she's home for maybe like a month, 2 months, and then she goes again, and then dad is in a coma.
Oh, wow.
She comes back. I haven't seen mom for months.
Oh, wow.
I see my mom in the hospital. Like, it's just this circle.
Things happen.
You know, now when I'm older about it, I always think like, that was some hectic times.
Imagine.
Yeah.
Imagine.
And I imagined it being very different because I recall one specific situation. Shout out to Cuz. I got a cousin of mine from Copenhagen. I love this guy. We're more twins than me and my twin at times. Yeah, we're on a frequency. And I remember we were walking, like he's trying to look out for me. He's like, yo, let's just go out, and get some air. And we're walking, and this one drunk guy, mind you, at the time, black belt, I'm fully, I'm just trying to whoop ass, like I'm just trying to move this. And I remember losing my control there at one point. And this guy singing some weird Bob Marley song. I was supposed to be his punchline, and I snapped.
Oh shit!
Snapped. I don't think I've ever snapped like that. And I was just, like I was just gonna catch a body, basically. That's when people say sometimes people do the wrong things at the wrong time.
Yeah,
this was one of those.
Oh shit!
And cuz he's a bit bigger and all that, so he held me back, and I was basically, I remember I turned into this other ogre Hulk type of scenario. And I remember the face of I don't remember his face, but I remember the gesture that he gave, and that it was confused. Because he's like, I'm having a good time. Why?
Sing about Marley.
I'm singing and trying to get you joined. This guy's trying to kill me.
The hell?
And, cuz held me back and all of that. And that's when it hit, this can happen.
Shit can happen. Shit can go down, yeah, bro.
Down in the wrong split second.
Split second, you punch him, and then it's over.
And that really stuck with me. That stuck a lot with me. How it can just, you think you're in a mindset, and if you don't have the tools and the people around you, it can go south really fast.
Exactly. And I've been also on that, you had 1 week moment there, but that's not the whole you. But it's so hard to tell you that, no, you had a weak moment, chill. Because that negative thing becomes so magnified. Like, shit, I almost killed her. Yeah, but you didn't. And you just had a bad period of life. Mom's was gone. I don't know. Your pops was, but you were on your killing spree. Okay, so let's tie this up with the last question here. And I put this question because I know you're not afraid of talking about death. It's a theme. It's a theme of yours. So, if you died today,
yes,
do you think your existence has made a difference in any way? And I hope you don't. I hope you live for many, 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 many years. But if you actually did.
If I died today, has my existence done any, if it's contributed?
Yeah, has it made
your life, do you think your existence has made a difference in any way?
I would hope so, but I could never know. I'd hope so. You know, you have students sometimes that come up to you and they say this and that. But that's a part of their reality, you know, and at times I think they could have got that information from someone else. But they didn't. They did get it from me, though. And engagement is key. And having a grown person believe in you matters to a lot of us. Just having some grown person. So yeah, I guess, yes. I would like to say yes. But it's not why I do it. Kind of thing. It's logically, I would say most probably yes, it has mattered, or at least I get cred for things I think that maybe I shouldn't be getting cred for. But I've definitely seen other people do that towards me growing up, definitely, and how their lives have definitely mattered to shaping me the way that I'm seeing things. Yeah. The information is not new. It's just packaged and given in a certain way. The closer you are to your absolute truth, the closer whatever you give to someone or channel it or speak in sense is timeless. There was a song with Fabulous where at the end of the song or in the intro somewhere, I'm going to cut this part away. But he says something in the sense of, we've stopped saying the year. It was a big thing in hip-hop, right? In early 2000, they would say what year they recorded or whatever. Yeah. And he said, he had a statement. He's like, no, we stopped doing that because it's timeless. And that echoed in my mind. I said, timeless? How do you write things that are timeless? There's certain problems in the world, certain aspects of the world, certain ways of us seeing each other in the world that will just always be. Sadly enough, my The Evil poem, as much as I wish for it to never be the case, still relevant. More relevant, I'm going to say. You know, I mean, it's... So, I try to be around that. What topics can I write about that will just always be? There's a poet by the name of Boyarsky, I think his name is. Mm-hmm. And he wrote about just mundane things, just your regular. You know, because in poetry you have all these Shakespeare's and all these extravagant Rumis and, you know, all of these, the grand of grand. But it's simplicity that resonates with people. And the key is, how do you make something complicated or a concept that is complicated simple?
Do you have this feeling that you have to do something?
Yeah, there's a push.
Yeah?
I don't know how to switch off the pull thing that we often talk about. I don't know how to... I do that when I sleep. Like, okay, now it's time to sleep. Ritual for sleep. It's not like, I fell asleep on the couch. I don't know. I don't know how to do those things. It looks nice, but it's not my... It looks really nice. Well, somebody just fell asleep. I'm like, you trust your environment that much? I can't.
How do people live like that? I love those people. Because what does that mean? Because it looks great. So that means that when you wake up, you're on a mission?
Yeah. Alhamdulillah.
Have there been days where you haven't been on a mission?
No, not that I can.
That is crazy, to be honest, because I can relate.
I can't relate to this. Oh, I woke up, I didn't know what to do with my day.
That would be funny.
What? What do you mean?
Yeah, but my dilemma is, which things are gonna get it?
How are we prioritizing this list? How can we? Yeah, man. I can't relate to that. Oh, I just...
Do you know what happened?
You've done what? Nothing for 7 months, 8 months? No.
A couple of days.
Ow!
A couple of days ago, I was, I think, driving by, and I saw this camping vehicle beside us.
Did you buy it?
Huh?
Did you go to buy it?
No. They were actually camping.
Ah, nice.
But, yeah, wait a minute before you say it's nice. They were actually beside each other. And it was just a plain field. There was nothing there. So I thought, what do you do with those? Then it appeared to me that you just do nothing. Like, haven't you seen those?
No. Or maybe I'm not getting the picture. People are camping?
Like
They're doing
camping
nothing?
with their vehicles. It's like this fun. Yeah. So they open it, put 2 chairs outside, and just
Yeah. I've seen those when they're like selling strawberries and stuff. They just...
yeah. But people actually take those to a camping place where it's just grass, and you just sit. Maybe it's near a lake or something, but most of the time you just sit. Sakin, oh no, you just sit. I'm like, man, I'll never do that.
I'll never do that. Yeah.
Because I want to explore.
My sister told me, shout out to my sis. She told me, she's like, listen, you are always on a mission. It's literally 48 hours of it. You're always on a mission. You always... She's my older sister. So she got to look out for her younger brother. And she's like, look, I'm just scared that at some point you're just going to like, tap out. And well, not those words, but basically that. And she's like, me and you, we got to go on a trip together. Just us.
I love it.
And we ain't going to do nothing. You're just going to... Yeah, right? That got me a bit. Right? What do you mean? No, just, eat good food, look at the sea, and just actually go down in tempo. So I told her, that is a part of my vision board. But once I reach 40, inshallah, if I reach 40.
Inshallah.
Then all of the assets that have been worked on, those calm down a bit.
But I don't know if that would be...
It won't.
But something for me.
It probably
Here's the
won't
thing.
go down like that.
I don't know if it's a trap, productivity trap or something. Because I'm not so interested in actually producing something. Like, I don't care if people watch this or listen to this. I did this.
Intrinsical.
Yeah, with you.
Appreciate it.
And have that quality time with you. And just absorbed. So for me, job done. Right? But, I don't know. You become so weird that you actually become an outsider. Like, wait a minute, you got a job, you got the kids, you got whatever. Like, can't you just chill?
No. I can only chill when the activity is to chill. Like, I'm crazy with meditation. But then I go into, this is what we're doing now. Switch. Click. Once that switch goes, okay. Out with everything, out with the thoughts, out with everything, just get into that zone. But it has to be it's like you don't forget yourself and you self-care and all of this. Man, I've been working a lot more on those things the past couple of years. Just taking care of my foot that's been dry since the war. Cocoa buttered out and all of that. Yeah, man, but actively doing it rather than it just happening.
Yeah, exactly. Actively doing something. And, it's just fascinating. Because even if I didn't have a job or whatever, I would probably do the same things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would probably get up early and work out and maybe read a book or whatever.
And they should go get that book.
Please, stop at the red light.
They got to go get that book.
A Guide to Mindful Living. I love it. Go get it. Amazon.com, Amazon.sc. Saleh, my bro, thank you so much for doing this with me.
Always an honor.
And that was it.
Thanks.
Peace. Alright, det var allt för den här gången. Om du tyckte om det så vet du exakt vad du behöver göra. Du behöver faktiskt sluta snåla och dela med det till någon vän eller familjemedlem eller vad som helst. Eller kanske bara lägga ut det på sociala medier så allt fler kan hitta hit. Det här var Sunday Brunch Cast med Yassi Mahamadi. Vi ses nästa gång.